Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Overcoming Graduation with Brian Drury, a show where I work to teach you everything I wished I'd known about life to help you graduate to the next level in your own. And this is another installment of The Morning Commute, where I take my morning drive to work to share a short but powerful message with you to help you kick your day off on the right foot. Today's message is this: I would give it all up for. So one of my roommates and another friend of mine who is in the personal development world is actually a master practitioner of NLP and hypnosis and is my co-host for our upcoming live event. He told me one of my favorite stories I have ever heard about relationships, love, and what are the important things in life. We were talking about what really matters. We were talking about priorities. We were talking about how it's easy to get distracted or to just get pulled into the minutia of the day-to-day and lose sight of the grand things. But then we started talking about how sometimes it's the littlest things that are the most important, and oftentimes that's really what the most important things are. How in life it's really easy to get distracted by the big grandiose shit. I even had a mentor of mine say to me, "Brian, I think you get distracted by the big grandiose shit and you lose sight of experiencing and enjoying all the great things that are happening that are leading you to it." Because on the plus side, I can be very goal-oriented, very driven. I'm going to make this thing happen. I'm going to go. I'm going to push. I'm going to fight. I'm going to make it happen. And then I make it happen, and instead of celebrating and reflecting and looking back and reminiscing about all the steps it takes and being grateful for all the people who helped me along the way, because everything I've done in my life, I have had help from people. And you might be like, "Oh, well, I can't relate to that because I haven't had any help. I've done it all on my own." I call it bullshit. Sure, you may have gotten up and done the workouts, you may have done this, but maybe there was a trainer who taught you. Maybe there was a teacher in high school who motivated you and made you believe that you could work out and be in shape. Maybe there was a person who said, "You know what, you can do it," and that was what helped you finish that last page of your book. Like, guys, we don't do this life alone. And I don't believe we're meant to, and I believe that we're here to encourage, influence, improve the relationships that we have and with people around us. And that I believe that's a big part for our existence, is really just connecting with and improving the lives of the people around us. And so we were talking about the big and the small. We were talking about all the various things that, well, this is what happens on the morning commute, guys. You get a motorcycle flying by. This is real. It's raw. It's uncut footage. Slightly edited. It'll be slightly edited. I do a little bit of noise reduction because I don't want you guys to get too much background. But back to the story. So we're talking about these things and realizing that when I had a conversation with my dad about what he missed, about the time with my mom after she passed away, he said, "Brian, it's the little things. It's really just coming home and saying hi and sitting there watching a movie and joking about it or commenting on it. It's the little conversations, the little quips, the little jokes, just the playfulness with life that having someone else around reminds you of." Because oftentimes it's easy to get trapped in our own head, in our own crazy thinking, in our own over-processing when we're just stuck up in our head. And other people can often be one of the best ways to help pull us out of that. Or just make us laugh or help us talk it out. That's often one of the best ways to help most people work through things. Not saying all the time, not saying everyone. I know there's very introspective people that benefit from journaling, meditation, quiet time, etc. But in general, I believe life is enhanced with quality relationships. Not quantity, quality. You could have one incredible relationship and be blissful with life. And an important caveat there is that I don't believe you should be dependent on other people for bliss or joy, because that can lead to codependency. Doesn't have to. But I do believe it's important to reach out to enrich other people's lives, and in turn, your life will be enriched. So when it comes to the important things, you might think, well, money, job, progress, body, physique, all of the typical things come to mind. And right now, You might even have something come to mind where you go, that's really where my focus is. And if you go, oh, no, my focus is on the most important things, I would say check your calendar. This is a quote you'll hear me say a lot because it's a very powerful and important one. Show me your calendar, I'll show you your priorities. It's something that that quote came from one of my first mentors, Peter Scott. Show me your calendar, I'll show you your priorities, because we often will make ourselves delusional. Just use the example of the overworked businessman who believes he's making time for his family, but he spends 10 hours a day at the office. When he gets home, he's on his laptop, his kids want to play and he can't play, but he takes 5 minutes to put them to bed, and he's saying that's his top priority. Take the person who says, health is my number one priority, and they wear the workout clothes, they talk about working out all the time, they complain every time they're eating healthy, but say, oh, it's for the cause, it's for this, but then silently or secretly are never going to the gym. They're eating excessively and things that they know they shouldn't. They just want to appear the way versus actually have the priority and make it a priority. So, where are your priorities right now? It doesn't necessarily have to be bad, guys, because priorities shift. And priorities do need to shift at times where, hey, someone's sick in the family, they become a higher priority than other things in your life. When my mom was sick, my health and my energy were less important than being with her. So if it meant I had to be exhausted or I was going to skip a meal or whatever, I was going to get as much time with her as I could. And it's okay for a time. If I did that for too long, it would just lead to me being unhealthy. And there was even a day in the last few weeks of her life when she made me go home. She said, Brian, go home, get some rest. You look exhausted, as she's lying in a hospital bed, still caring for people. So, what is that story? What is that amazing story? Well, I was talking with my roommate, John, and he was telling me about his grandfather. And his grandfather had been married to his grandmother for, I think it was more than 40 years. It was a number that I was like, wow. And someone was talking to his grandfather one time. Just having one of those deep philosophical conversations we like to have where if you could do one this or if you could change anything in your life, what would it be? And so they reached out to him, and they were having the conversation with him and said, hey, John's grandfather. I'm guessing they probably knew his name. Hey, John's grandfather, what would you do if you could have anything in the world? What would it be? What would be that thing you would do? If you could have anything, what would it be? And the way John tells the story, it was almost without hesitation that he came back and said, if I could hold my wife's hand for an hour, that would be all I'd want. He said, if I could hold my wife's hand for 1 hour, that would be all I would want and all I would need. He's now late in his life. I think he's 80s, 90s. And one of the pieces of advice I got from my mentor that I quote the most on the show is look for people who have the results that you want and learn from them. Now, I don't know about the relationship, but I feel like that one quote teaches me so much about it. And to have a long-lasting, strong, committed, wonderful relationship, I may not know those things, but I feel those things just from that one sentence, just from that one question that he answered. It is so easy to get distracted by the bullshit, but when I was giving a seminar at Penn State, I had a student say that his family is his purpose but not his priority. And I said, I call bullshit on that. Because what? Tell me why. And we went into the whole thing of like how school and then getting the job and making money so that he can give them everything they ever wanted. That needs to be his focus now. And he'll touch base with them later, basically. I say, yeah, what if one of them dies? What if one of those important people gets sick, are they still on the back burner? If one of those people suddenly passed away, is it really worth it that you focus more on getting schoolwork done than reaching out and calling maybe once a week? And I saw the shift in him because I've had my mentors do this with me as well, where I thought I had a clear idea on something and then the perspective totally changes. As I said to him, that happened to me. Not the sudden death, but the death of one of the most important people in my life. And you'd be amazed how priorities shift when something real happens. When your mom gets diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, it's incredible how what you thought was important suddenly just seems totally inconsequential. The things that got you really angry at work and frustrated at people, like, God, I can't believe so-and-so in this meeting. You wonder why anyone gives any fucks about it. Why does it matter? You're like, it doesn't, because without this person, or without being able to call this person, it feels like life would be so much less bright. If I could hold her hand for 1 hour, he could have anything in the world. He didn't wish for everlasting life. He didn't wish for money. He didn't wish for a trip. He didn't wish for so many of the things we think we want. He said he wanted to hold his wife's hand for 1 hour. That's all he wanted. So for today, where in your life are your priorities on point? First, I'm going to ask you that, because I want you to celebrate. I know a lot of times, pretty much every episode, I'm giving you something to work on, giving myself something to work on as well. But also, celebration is key. So where are your priorities on point? Where are you killing it? And where have you really hit the mark? Where have they shifted and they need to be either nudged back into place or take a sledgehammer and slam them back into place because they are way off? And as always, what is one small step you can take? And I want to give you examples of small steps, because oftentimes people go, okay, small step, I want to work out 2 hours a day for a week. It's just a week. I'm talking so small it seems ridiculous, because I would much rather you do 10 minutes of walking, like deliberate walking as a workout, if that was your goal, versus try to do 2 hours in the gym 3 times a week. Here's why. You can always create 10 minutes in a day. 2 hours is a much larger commitment, which you could get to over time, depending on your schedule and your other commitments. But the grander and bigger the commitment is, the higher the probability that you will find excuses to not do it, and the greater push it is out of your comfort zone. So I want to help you gently push yourself out of your comfort zone until your comfort zone expands to the point where you look back in 3 months and you're like, holy shit, my life looks nothing like what it used to, or my comfort zone is 5 times the size of what it used to be. So if you want to work out, commit to 5 minutes per day of something small. Maybe you do abs, maybe you just walk up and down the stairs, maybe you march in place in front of the TV. You pick based off your fitness level, and the goal here isn't for you to lose 50 pounds immediately, which is why most people are like, oh, that won't give me results. It's not about you getting immediate results. It's about you changing your lifestyle and creating new habits that actually help you, versus doing another crash diet and then regaining all the weight after because your habits haven't changed and you just did something that's generally pretty unhealthy to lose a lot of weight quickly. If you really want the results and you want it long term, play the long game. If you want to learn a language, start by spending 5 minutes a day. If you do 5 minutes a day, you'd be amazed how much you can learn. Or, even smaller, learn 1 new word a day. 1 new word, 1 new phrase per day, until you get to a point where you're like, you know what, I want to do more. Until it feels comfortable, until you get into the routine, until you love doing it. If you want to eat healthier, instead of saying I'm going to meal prep for the week and I'm going to be all healthy, I'm going to do all this, here's something I'll challenge you to do. Tim Ferriss talks about instead of trying to drop things, add things to start. So add a green smoothie in the morning. Add a salad when you wouldn't normally. I like to do what I call drop one, add one. So drop one unhealthy habit. Like, let's just say you eat shit tons of French fries and you know that that would be a real difference maker for you. Maybe you say, I commit to once per week not having them when I normally would. Or I commit to cutting it out. I mean, like, that's where you get into the bigger commitments. But you can start with, I commit to once per week. In the book, One Small Step, he would say, commit to not having the first French fry. Literally throw that one out. And you'd be amazed how something so small over time can lead to massive changes. So, what is one small step you can take today to get your priorities back in line? And I want you to celebrate where your priorities are fucking on point right now. For everyone who listens, for everyone who takes their time to join me on this show, I want you guys to know that I love you and I really, really am thankful for you and getting to share this time with you. If you're going to be in Santa Monica, California on June 30th, or if you want to be, because we would love to have you there, my friend Jonathan Fisher and I will be putting on our first ever live event called Beyond Belief. And what we'll be doing is teaching you how to live a life that is beyond belief in health, wealth, and relationships over the course of a day where we're going to laugh, play, and do some incredible activities. We've got some great, great content. It's coming from years and years and tens of thousands of dollars of investment between John and I, of personal development, of growth, of work, of application, of actually doing the things that we are going to be teaching. So we want to share this with you and we want you to experience it. So if you would like to join us at this event, you can click the link in the show notes or visit overcominggraduation.com to pick up your tickets. And otherwise, that is going to be all for today, guys. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking this time with me on the show. And I will be talking to you again real soon.